Welcome to In Our Neighborhoods. Where has the year gone? It's June already. On this month's show, we celebrate Cinco de Mayo with the Heron's Pointe neighborhood. I take a ride in my golf cart with the social chair of Village Green, and we have a real treat for you, a concert on the concrete with Dwayne and Annie in the Greenbriar Park neighborhood. I had the privilege of interviewing Dwayne Damiani a few days after the concert. Let's take a look. I'm here in the Greenbriar Park neighborhood of Sun City on the north side, and I'm about to speak with Dwayne Damiani. Now, Dwayne and his friend Annie Allman sometimes periodically throw a concert here on the concrete. Well, Dwayne, how did you and Annie get started doing the concert on the concrete, and how long ago did you start doing it?
It's almost 3 years ago that we started it, and we didn't start it exactly to be concert on the concrete. We started it to be practice. And so Annie came up and we did some practicing, and 5 of the neighbors showed up and asked if we could watch it. And we said, sure. Then the next time we did it about 2 months later, about 15 more showed up. We said, sure. Then the next time 40 people showed up, and we thought, wow. And so then we did it the next year, and we had 80 people show up, and then we had 100 people show up, and we had 125 that showed up this last one. So it went from basically just trying to practice a little bit to we made it a full-fledged show. And so from now on, we'll just do full-fledged shows, 2.5 to 3 hours, and then let it go from there and see how it goes. Maybe it gets big enough that we have to move and go into a different area, because this venue is going to be
houses soon.
It's going to be houses soon, and we won't have the room that we have now. But that's basically how it started.
That's awesome.
With a different name, and yes, a different face, I'm feeling all right. Oh no, I'm not feeling too good myself. Feeling all right. Oh no, I'm not feeling too good myself. Feeling all right. Oh no, I'm not feeling too good myself. Whoa. Feeling all right. Oh no, I'm not feeling too good myself.
Now, what type of music do you and Annie get to play all the time?
Well, since she's part of the Allman Brothers family, she's a cousin to Greg and Dwayne Allman and their family. We do a lot of Allman Brothers, and we do a lot of classic rock. She likes a lot of Steely Dan, and I like a lot of the Beatles, so we mix and match the things that we like. And then we took a look at things that she could play and things that I could sing that were different than other bands, because we wanted to kind of place ourselves a little differently than everybody else. So 25 or 6 to 4 by Chicago, we don't see a lot of bands play that. Africa by Toto, we don't see a lot of bands play that. So we decided to venture into some songs that nobody else touched, because we felt we had the capability to do it. So, but it's mostly classic rock, and we do some Motown, so there's dance songs in there.
No Southern rock?
I love Southern rock. Well, the Allman Brothers are Southern rock, but I'm trying to talk her into some Leonard Skinner, because I love me some Leonard Skinner now. So,
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
absolutely. So we're always looking at new music. We like blues. We both have an affection for blues. So we decided last night we're going to do a Eric Clapton song, "Have You Ever Loved a Woman?" It's a great guitar part in there for her, and I love the singing portion for myself. The blues are great because as a singer, you can go ahead and raise and lower your voice to the song and just come right back to where you need to be, and you can have a lot of fun with your singing as much as playing.
What a feeling I get when I'm with you. You take my
So how did you meet Annie, Dwayne, and did you know she was related to the Allmans?
I didn't know, and I didn't know Annie at all, but we had a mutual friend who knew each one of us. And she basically liked the way I sang, and she liked the way Annie played, and she thought we should get together. And she was basically going to grab each one by the arm, drag me from North Carolina and her up from Wilmington Island, Georgia, to put us together, because she said if we did get together, she said that we could make some really great music together. So we did. We met, and we looked at each other, and sure, we looked a little like this and like that. And finally, Annie said to me, all right, let's see what you got. And so I went ahead and started singing. And then she looked at me and she said, wow, are you interested in putting a duo together? And I said, absolutely. And that's how we started. That's about a little over 9 years ago now.
9 years?
Yeah.
And what about knowing that she was an Allman?
Well, that was a little, I'll tell you, in the very beginning, I was a little uneasy, because here you're going to do cover songs for the family that wrote the song. So in the very beginning, it was a little, not tough, but it was just a little uneasy, until I got down to the point where I felt comfortable with the songs and she felt comfortable with it. And we practiced them back and forth. You know, I'm not going to sing like Greg Allman, never. But, you know, I sing my own style and try to mix it in with the songs that we're doing. And I think we've gotten to be pretty good at it. But no, I didn't know she was, when I met for the first time, I thought, okay, man, yeah, that's very cool.
Well, Dwayne, you're originally from Pennsylvania. What brought you down south, and particularly Sun City?
Well, originally work brought me down south. I worked for Gulfstream. I came down here in 1977 and worked for Gulfstream for 26 years. But I was in and out of Gulfstream. They transferred me all over the world. And then when I left, I went back home to Pennsylvania. Or, excuse me, when I retired, I went back home to Pennsylvania. And then my daughter was living here with my 2 grandsons and her husband, so I decided to come down here to be closer to them. And eventually I did, and I met Annie at the same time. Killed 2 birds with 1 stone.
Dwayne, can you give us a little history about that guitar that you're holding there?
Well, that guitar was made by Annie when she had her shop over in Savannah. And I bought one of the last ones that were available, the Allman guitar. She plays hers on a regular basis. It sounds great. I can't play it at all. So it just looks at me and I look at it. And that's about all there is to it. But it's a beautiful piece of equipment, as you can tell.
Well, Dwayne, tell us how we can keep up with you and Annie.
Well, my Facebook page, for one, will have any gig that we play together. And Annie Allman has a webpage, annallman.com. And that has the gig schedule on it as well. So when she's playing with myself or she's playing herself, or playing with other people down over in Savannah, so everything's listed on there.
Eileen Beakack, the social chair of Village Green neighborhood, tells me the who, what, and where it takes to plan a successful event. We are here in the Village Green neighborhood of Sun City. Village Green is located on Tidewatch Drive off of 170. And we are here with Eileen Beakack. She is the alternate neighborhood rep, and she is also the social chair. Welcome, Eileen.
Thank you.
Well, how do you determine what activities to run for your neighborhood?
Well, I have a great group of people that we've put together from our neighborhood, and we just brainstorm. So any idea that anybody has, we talk about it. You can't get your feelings hurt. If most of us maybe think, because it happens to me all the time. I have 50 ideas and they have to throw a hose on me because it's too much. But yeah, so somebody has an idea, we reach out to the neighborhood, see if it's something that they want to do, and we tell them, hey, come on and help us do it, and we all join together. We had a build-out party last night, which was fabulous. Everybody had a great time, and really that's what it's all about. So that's how we do it.
Yeah, and what type of something different that you're trying to schedule?
Well, what we just started is we have a dine around, we have a wine around, And a lot of folks said, you know what, my husband, my wife, they love craft beer. So we put out a page at one of our concrete cocktails, said, sign up if you're interested, if this is something you think would work for you. And we got over 30 people, and now we have a few craft beer tasting groups,
Wow.
which then meet in neighbors' homes. It gives you a chance to do something you enjoy, and do it with making new friends. That's what it's all about. That's what these groups are all about. So it's great. It's great. Then we have some people have. Oh, one of our people, he said, I love fishing. I'd love to do a fishing trip. We put out a note on that, and he has over 30 people. On May 21st, he's taking 4 boats out, and they're all going fishing. So again, this was an idea somebody had. They said, yeah, sure, I'll do it, and we help them to get it together, and it's gonna happen. So we're excited about that.
Now, do you charge for all of your neighborhood activities or just some? And how do you determine what you charge?
Well, what we do is, say for instance, concrete cocktails every month. So of course we don't charge for that. Folks just bring something. If we do charge any fee for any event, it's always at the most minimal amount that we can do it. Because I always say to the social committee, everybody's pocketbook is not the same size.
Right.
So you
You're
have
right.
to, if we're going to do something, we have to make it so that everybody can go. And that's what we've done. We've never used more than what we've taken in. We're very budget conscious, so we're fine. We make it affordable to everyone, and that's our goal. And that's how we do that.
Now, as the social chair, how do you manage all of those things that you're telling us about? How do you manage? You have subcommittees? Do you have?
We just have our team has a great relationship. I stay in touch with the folks that are running it. I try to be there, and everybody tries to be there. So I'm not just speaking of myself. We all work together as a great team, and we all support each other. And not just our people on our social committee that do it, like even last night, it was just our neighbors said, hey, let me help you. And it just happened. I mean, we all live in the same neighborhood, so let's just do it.
So Eileen, what are some of the most popular activities that you guys do in your neighborhood, and what are some that didn't quite make it?
Not to blow our own horn, we're pretty successful in everything that we've done. Actually, one of our most successful that everybody loved, in November we do a soup and chili night. We have crock pots galore. We have to bring in our extension cords, extra, but folks bring chili and soup. It's delicious. Or we say, if you're not into that, bring some bread or cake.
Sure.
So and then a great thing we do is we tell folks to bring muffin tins. So they can go up with their muffin tin and put, six, that way, bring it back that way, and people love it. And what we also do is we have folks bring a canned good. And then what we did, so we gave back to the community that way. We found a food pantry that could use it. We donated there, and long story short, 3 of us on the social committee volunteer at that food pantry now. They sucked us in. So, but it's just a good. It just trickles down because it's fun for the neighbors, and then something in our community is benefiting from it. So it really is a wonderful thing. We're having a sunset cruise. We have for 100 people. We're renting a boat, Captain Mark's boat, out of Shelter Cove. We'll be serving snacks and to our folks. We tell them it's not dinner, so just be ready for that. They love it. We did it last year. It was such a great success that we're doing it again this year. And again, for the first 100 people, that's what the boat can hold. And we're almost full already. We just put it out, maybe a week ago, 10 days ago. So it's great. We really, everything that we've done, the feedback from our friends and neighbors in Village Green, they love it. And they're like, can't thank us enough for the work that we do. So, and we appreciate that. We appreciate their appreciation
Right.
because it really does take a lot of work and a lot of time, but we wouldn't be doing it unless we wanted to. It's not a job, right? It's not a job. It's something we want to do, and that's what makes it nice.
Do you interact with other neighborhoods, and what do you do to interact with them?
Well, what we do, we have North Lake, which is really right after us, and when they first started, of course, you know, they had a few people. We were planning our holiday party last year. We said, hey guys, we have the room, we have the music, you know, we have the caterer. If you guys want to get a couple of tables, come on. Because they didn't have a lot of people, and plus they didn't have, you know, it's hard to plan something. They really weren't a neighborhood, so to speak, at that time. So we did. We had folks from there. And then I run a bowling for Village Green every month. And I always invite our North Lake neighbors. And actually, I'm starting to invite our Turnberry neighbors because, you know what, you're there. If you don't have, like
people.
Turnberry, if you don't have enough, the more the merrier, for God's sake. We live in Sun City. You can't isolate yourselves into your little villages, whatever. We live in a whole big place. So, you know, the more you interact with people, the more friends you have, the more contacts you make. It just makes life better. You can't isolate yourselves. That's what I think.
So then how do you actually communicate the activities to your neighbors? Like, how do you
We do
email?
It's email. Yeah, it's email, word of mouth. Some things we send a flyer out, but let's face it. You have to have some kind of knowledge of technology and computers in order to live here, because you know, even if you have to know how to read an email, you know. And we tell folks, hey, if you know somebody that doesn't go on the internet, if you have a neighbor and you know that neighbor, you just make sure that they know what's going on. A lot of times we'll put flyers in mailboxes, but kind of we've been going to a basically technology-based, technology-based communication, you know. And what's good is that I am the ANR, so I have contact to the listserv.
Right.
So when I want to send out something regarding the social committee, I just ask myself, should give myself permission. I give myself permission to do that. So it works out fine. But yeah, that's just how we do it. Just everybody knows what's going on, and you know, we tell folks you have to read your emails. You know,
Have to read your emails,
yeah.
too.
You know, that's the name of the game. So, but otherwise, yeah, we get good response, good participation, and so far so good. So.
Excellent. Now, how do you go about reserving the rooms for all of these activities?
We have a godsend. So what we started this year is that instead of, you know, every Tom, Dick, and Harry having to make a reservation here and there, what we do is we discuss what we have planned, and we have one person that goes. She goes and she takes care of all that business. We have a cam card for Village Green. She reserves the room that way. So it works out perfectly. Thank you, guys.
Oh my gosh, it was awesome. Chris Chase shares her neighborhood's Cinco de Mayo celebration with lots of food and fun.
We're here for Cinco de Mayo, denoting the battle between the French and the Mexicans that the Mexicans won in 1862. Now let's go see how they celebrate it here at Riverbend. Now, Laura, you're the co-chair of Heron's Pointe. This is a wonderful event, and I'm sure you plan a lot of them. What have you planned, and what have you got coming up?
Well, we plan a lot of events, but as you know, Chris, the heart and soul of the social committee are the parties that we plan. And we're looking forward to a lot of parties, and the reason that we do them almost every month is so that we have relationships that form in our community, because it's so important to stay connected and to build substance between our neighbors so that we care for each other. So coming up this summer, we're going to have a pool party, which we usually have sometime in the summer. So we're going to do it this June. And then we're also going to have our bowling party, which everyone seems to enjoy. And we always do the Salty Dog Cruise. And then we'll probably do something in September. But as the holidays approach, we like to do a Halloween party, and we like to do a holiday party. But in between, we're going to do some trips together. So everyone can't partake of every event, but sometimes, somehow, they'll partake of something. And so we connect together through the social committee.
Well, that's a wonderful committee, and you do a fantastic job, I know. And you're very busy, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Chris.
Now, Tammy, what does Cinco de Mayo mean to you?
Cinco de Mayo means getting together and having a good time and partying with your friends and neighbors.
I agree with that completely. Now, what do you enjoy about Heron's Point?
Oh, where do I begin? It's like having a gigantic family that care about each other, that have a good time together, that support each other, and it's just like having a big family.
So, Ken, what does it mean living in Heron's Point?
You know, what I like about Heron's Point is the people. We had a bunch of friendly people, and we have people that are willing to take the initiative and make things happen in our neighborhood. They coordinate activities, so it gives us a chance to get together and socialize and just have a great time.
And that's what it's all about.
That's why we moved here, is to enjoy ourselves. I feel like we're at a resort, and by being in Heron's Point, we ought to call it Heron's Point Resort.
We'll work on that.
Okay, great.
I love your hat.
Thank you very much. Somebody said that the Derby was yesterday, and I pointed out it was a sombrero. He was wearing green. I pointed out St. Patty's Day was he missed that by a long shot.
See what this neighborhood gets into?
Yeah, it's a fun neighborhood, and I appreciate everybody who plans all these great events because it's always fun.
So, Bob, what does living in Heron's Point mean to you?
First of all, you have to have no ego to wear this hat. So,
Adorable.
But in all seriousness, I love living in Sun City and Heron's Point, especially because you're not going to find nicer people, and also it's a community that loves to have fun. So there's always things to do, and people like you that help make this a great place. It's true.
Thank you, Bob. So, Sue, this is a fabulous event, but it must take a lot to put this together.
Well, I had a lot of help. I had people cooking for me, and I cooked the cakes, and it was a joint adventure.
I know everybody's really enjoying it. There isn't much food left, actually.
We did a good job figuring out how much to make, so that's always good when we don't have a lot of leftovers.
So, Hank, what does Cinco de Mayo mean to you?
Well, if I were Mexican, I wouldn't be celebrating very much today, even though they won the war over the French with a big battle in 1862. General Zaragoza beat the French. But I'm an American, so I'm celebrating because we started in 1980. The beer and the wine industry decided to make this a Mexican appreciation ceremony and celebration. So that's why we're here today.
That's awesome, and I didn't know that. So, Kathy, what do you enjoy about Heron's Point?
Heron's Point keeps me busy. It is a very active neighborhood, but more than that, it's a very welcoming neighborhood. We haven't even been here a year yet, and one of the first events I went to was a women's luncheon, and they introduced me to everyone, and I embarrassed myself because I was moved to tears by how welcoming they were.
Oh, that's wonderful. Glad you're in the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Well, as we've seen, Heron's Point really enjoyed their Cinco de Mayo, and now I'm going to go do it. This is Chris Chase for In Our Neighborhoods.
Thank you for watching ION. Next month, we will feature interviews with a few neighborhood reps and social chairs, along with an interview with Carter Forsett, the regional sales manager of Pointe. We would love to hear about the events your neighborhood is having. Please contact us at least 2 weeks in advance at our email address, suncityhh@gmail.com. And stay tuned to Sun City TV for more episodes of In Our Neighborhoods.
Neighborhoods.